Okay, I'm trying to record our discussion for today so that if it will be successful, I can also upload it through Google Classroom for the benefit of those who will not be able to attend today's class. So the last topic that I have assigned you on is Title 1, Book 3, up until uh, occupational health and safety, as well as the labor code versus the POEA contract. Now, when we talk of Title 1, Book 3, that is actually the meat of labor standards. So kapag sinabing labor standards, actually, ang sinasabi doon, yung lahat ng benefits na makikita ninyo sa Title 1, Book 3. So when I say Title 1, Book 3, dapat alam nyo na kung ano yung benefits na nandoon. Mr. Ita, nag-e-echo ba ako?
No, no po, ma'am.
Okay, sige, good. So, all right. So later on, I will be enumerating each of the benefits under Title 1, Book 3. Now, Title 1, Book 3 starts with the employees who are excluded from benefiting from the benefits provided under that title. So you have the excluded workers. The excluded workers are number one, government employees. You also have managers. You have relatives of the employers, okay, who are dependent on the employer for support. You have domestic helpers, persons in the personal service of another, field workers, as well as workers paid by results. Now, for government employees, remember that in general, government employees are not covered by the provisions of the labor code because they are governed by the civil service laws. Okay? The basis, of course, is the 1987 Constitution, Article 11, which says that civil service embraces all employees in the government, including those in the department agencies and all its instrumentalities, including government-owned and controlled corporations with original charter. Okay? So do not forget that when we talk of government-owned and controlled corporations, we have to distinguish between those with original charters and those who do not have or were not created by virtue of any special law. When we say original charter, we are referring to a special law that created the GOCC. So the civil service only covers GOCCs which are created by virtue of an original charter. That's why I indicated here that you should be able to distinguish between those who are governed by the civil service and but though you should be able to distinguish GOCCs with original charters. If the GOCC has no original charter, then the GOCC is created by virtue of the corporation code. If that is the case, then the employees in that GOCC is governed by the labor code. Okay, so they can actually benefit under Title 1, Book 3, except if they fall under any of the other types of excluded employees in the labor code. Okay, so I hope that's clear with respect to government employees. Now, second would be, second would be managers. Now, if you will look at the definition of managers under Title 1, Book 3, it says there that managers are those who implement management decisions who exercises discretion of the management, and they include members of the managerial staff. So when we say managerial staff, we are actually referring to supervisors. So when we talk of Title I, Book 3, and we say managers, excluded ang managers as well as supervisors from availing of the benefits. So ano-ano ba itong mga benefits na to? Yan yung benefits ng 8 hours work, overtime, night shift differential, and so on and so forth until service incentive leave. Okay? So ang supervisors, as a general rule, they are not entitled to overtime pay. They are not entitled to night shift differential. Now, next is relatives. And when we say relatives, this would be relatives of the employer who are dependent on the employer for support. Unfortunately, support is not defined under the labor code. You will not find the definition of support in the labor code. You will find the definition of support in the family code. So, anong year na ba kayo? 3rd year, right? So, tapos na kayo mag-family code. So, if you will recall the definition of what support is under the family code, it governs expenses on sustenance, dwelling, clothing, medical expenses, education, and transportation. So, if the employee is fully dependent on support of the employer for sustenance, dwelling, clothing, medical expenses, education, and transportation, then they cannot avail of the benefits under Title I, Book 3. Okay? Now, domestic helpers are excluded from the provisions of Title I, Book 3. Okay. Simply because there is already a special law, which is the Kasambahay Law. However, if you had already seen, and I'm assuming that you have, kasi kasama to sa reading materials ninyo, reading assignment. If you will note, the benefits that are accorded to domestic helpers are similar to the labor standard benefits provided under the labor code. Only that there is a difference on how domestic helpers can avail of these benefits. Okay? But the hours of work, the rest periods, they are the same. The domestic helpers can avail of similar labor standard benefits, only that the conditions are different. Now, with respect to persons in the personal service of another. So, going back, domestic helpers, under the Kasambahay Law, may definition on what kasambahays are. Diba? So, yung kasambahay, yun yung mga tinatawag natin na yaya, okay? Yun yung cook, even gardeners are included in the definition of kasambahay. The enumeration in the definition of kasambahay is exclusive. So, we cannot add any other workers within the household in the definition of kasambahay. So, the kasambahay does not include persons in the personal service of another. What are examples of persons in the personal service of another? Driver, personal driver. Security, okay? Personal assistants, yung mga private secretaries, okay? Meron din dyan yung mga private masseuse, yung mga nagmamasahe, okay? So those are persons in the personal service of another. We cannot include them in the definition of kasambahay. So they are not considered as domestic helpers. They are excluded from the provisions of Title I, Book 3. However, in the case of Saluta, the Supreme Court said that because of the the provisions of the Kasambahay law which diluted the related provisions on Kasambahay. It also deleted the provisions related to persons in the personal service of another. So completely, itong mga tao na to, itong mga employees na to, they cannot avail of the benefits under Title I, Book 3. So under Saluta, the Supreme Court said that with respect to these types of employees, we will apply the provisions of the labor code. Okay, so I hope you can still recall the case of Saluta, which I have already included as part of your reading assignment. Now, another type of employees who are excluded from the benefit would be field workers. Under the labor code, field workers are defined as follows. They are employees not in the agricultural sector. Okay? So, when you say field workers, hindi yan yung farmers. Hindi yan yung mga farm workers kasi hindi sila agricultural workers, yung field workers. Field workers are employees who perform work outside of the company premises and whose hours of work cannot be reasonably ascertained with certainty, with reasonable certainty. Okay, so again, two requirements. Number one, they perform work outside of the company premises. And secondly, number two, their hours of work cannot be ascertained with reasonable certainty. So what are examples of field workers? Perfect examples of field workers are sales agents or sales executives, sales representatives, or medical representatives. Why? Number one, they perform work outside of the company premises. Kasi engaged sila sa sales, so they always have to be on field. Okay? So nasa labas sila. With respect to medical representatives, they do house calls for doctors in the hospitals or in the clinics. So most of the time, if not all of the time, you cannot find them in the premises of the company. So lagi silang nasa labas. As regards the second requirement, on the part of the employer of these sales agents, hindi nila maa-ascertain because they are always outside. They cannot be sure that within the 8-hour office work that they are actually working. Diba? Kasi ang hinihingi lang sa kanila palagi, you have to reach your quota. So, regardless of whether they have worked for the entire 8 hours or not, if they turn in with their sales and they have reached their quota, that is enough. So those are the types of field workers who cannot avail of the benefits under Title I, Book 3. If we will not be able to satisfy any of those two requirements, then we cannot accord them the same condition that they are field workers. Now, the last type of employees who are excluded from Title I, Book 3 are workers paid by results. Okay? But do not forget that this would only pertain to workers who are not supervised or working within the employer's control. So you have the classic case of Lambo versus NLRC. Okay, so as I always tell this, do not forget the case of Lambo versus NLRC. Lambo versus NLRC was promulgated by the Supreme Court after a question in the bar examination asked on whether all workers paid by results are excluded from Title I, Book 3. And the answer, suggested answer, is that not all workers paid by results are excluded from Title I, Book 3. Only those employees who are not supervised and within the employer's control are excluded from Title I, Book 3. So after that was asked in the bar examinations, years later, we have Lambo versus NLRC. So what does that tell us? Even if we do not have Lambo versus NLRC, the rule is that we still have to determine whether the workers paid by results are supervised or not. So ano ba tong mga workers paid by results? Sila yung binabayaran based on output. Okay? So, either per piece, kaya nakalagay dun sa ano, di ba? Takyaw or Pacquiao basis. Either by piece or by Pacquiao. So, sila yung mga nagtatrabaho outside of the company premises, pero binabayaran sila based on the number of outputs that they will be submitting. So, since they are only based on the outputs, the employer, actually, the company, do not exercise control over them. Hindi nakikita ni employer paano ginagawa nung worker yung product. Okay? Pwedeng sabihin ni employer, okay, by the end of the week, mag-submit ka ng gantong karami ng basket. Gusto ko gantong kulay, gantong kalaki. Okay? Pero yung output, okay, yung output sa production, yung materials, how will it be performed? Hindi yun minomonitor ni company. If that will be the case, then that is an instance of a worker paid by results. And the worker will not be able to avail of the benefits under Title I, Book 3. Okay? So I hope that is clear. Nababasa ba? Clear ba, Mr. Itaw? Maliit.
Medyo maliit lang, ma'am, pero ayan.
Ayan. Okay, so I have here enumerated on the left portion of the matrix the labor standards benefits. So the first is with respect to the hours of work. The labor code provides that the normal hours of work, the rule is that it should not exceed 8 hours. So the general rule, the normal hours of work is 8 hours. The exception to that is when the employer now would direct its employees to perform overtime. So ang question, mali ba na pa-overtime si employer or mag-exceed ang hours of work to in excess of 8 hours? The answer to that is no. Okay, it is not prohibited. What is prohibited is non-payment of overtime for work rendered beyond 8 hours. Because the rule is that the normal hours of work is 8 hours. In excess of that, then the employee is entitled to overtime pay. Now, under the labor code, the premium for overtime is a minimum of 25% of the hourly rate of the employee. Okay? So, if an employee had been required to perform work beyond 8 hours, does it automatically mean that the employee is entitled to overtime? General rule, yes. But we have exceptions, and I've already enumerated the exceptions. Number one, when there is a compressed work week scheme. What is a compressed work week scheme? A compressed work week is where the employer and the employees would agree that the hours of work within a week will be compressed to lesser than the number of days that is required for them to perform work, usually required of them to perform work. So actually under the labor code allows 6 days of work in a week. Kasi ang rest day, sabi ng labor code, rest period, an employee is entitled to rest period after working for consecutively 40 after working for 48 hours of 48 consecutive hours. Okay? So, ang ibig sabihin, dahil 8 hours of work tayo per day, divide that to 48 divided by 8, then that will leave you with 6 days. Okay. So, 6 days allowed actually si employer to direct its employees to perform work. So, 6 days, meron kang 8 hours per day. So in a compressed work scheme, the employer and the employees would agree that instead of working, for example, for 6 days a week, yung 48 hours, i-compress nila to, let's say, 5 days. Okay? So hindi na sila magtatrabaho, depende kung anong gusto nila, kung Monday or Saturday or whatever, or any day within the week. Basta 5 days lang in a week. But the number of hours will have to be distributed. Yung 8 hours na nawala dun sa 6th day, okay, will have to be distributed. How will it be distributed? That will depend on the agreement of the employer and the employees. Question, can the employer unilaterally implement a compressed work schedule? And the answer to that is no. Under dollar rules, it has to be agreed upon by the employer and the employee. Also, there is a compliance that is required. Kapag mag-implement na compressed work scheme ang employer, may finifil pa na form si employer. Okay? And it has to be submitted to the DOLE prior to the implementation of the compressed work schedule. So nakalagay doon may conformity nung employee. Okay? Now, so if for example, nag-usap si employer and si employee, okay, we will agree to have a compressed work schedule. One of the conditions also, yung compressed work scheme, hindi siya permanent. Okay? It only has to be on a temporary basis. Now, nag-usap sila, okay, so yung 8 hours, distribute natin ng ganito. 2 hours each for the first 4 days. So, ibig sabihin, may additional 2 hours ng Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Yung Friday, unchanged. 8 hours pa rin. Now, question, in a compressed work scheme, are the employees still entitled to overtime pay for working in excess of 8 hours? Because we have already added 2 hours each from Monday to Thursday, di ba? Kasi, for example, instead of 8 to 5, they will be working until 7 p.m. because of the compressed work schedule. Now, the answer to that is no, because the compressed work schedule is an exception to the rule on overtime. Alright? So, dapat clear tayo dyan. Now, another exception would be if the employer would compensate for the hours of work on the occasion of a power interruption. So, kapag nag-brown out, okay? Under the DOLE Memorandum Order, if there is a brownout that had exceeded for more than 10 minutes, and the employer would want to compensate for the hours that were spent without any production, then the employer is allowed to compensate. So kung merong 2 hours na power interruption and inallow ni employer during that power interruption, sabihin niya, okay, during this brownout, pwede kayo lumabas. Okay? Or pwede kayo magstay dyan, bahala kayo, hindi kayo tatrabaho. Okay? Pero pag nag-resume na yung brownout, after 2 hours, dahil hindi naman tayo nakapagawa ng any production, we will compensate. So instead na lalabas kayo ng 5, magtatrabaho tayo until 7 in order to compensate. So the question, will the employee be entitled to overtime pay for having rendered work beyond 5 p.m.? And the answer to that is no, because the employers are actually allowed to compensate for work, for unproductive work during power interruption. But take note, okay, I have indicated there letter A and letter B. The number of work hours per day shall not exceed 12 hours. Okay, and that would be both for compressed work schedule and brownout. If work would be beyond 12 hours, okay, or 48 hours a week na yon in total, then the employee now will be entitled to overtime pay. Okay? So those are the rules with respect to hours of work and overtime. For rest period, again, the labor code provides that an employee is entitled to 24 consecutive hours of rest after 48 consecutive hours of work. If the employee is required to perform work on a rest day, then the employee is entitled to premium pay of a minimum of 30%. Can it be lesser than 30%? No. All the benefits provided under Title I, Book 3 are the minimum benefits. It cannot go, the employers cannot go any lower than those provided under Title I, Book 3. Can they go higher? Of course. Okay, that would be within the prerogative of the employer. So, for example, an employee performs work Tuesdays and Mondays until Saturday. Kaso mo, itong si employer may hinahabol siyang production. During the rest day of the employee was required to perform work. So, nung Sunday. Okay. So, on that Sunday, the employee now will be entitled to 30% at least of his pay for that day. Okay. Remember, kanina, yung 25% will be hourly rate. Hourly. Itong 30% na to, daily. Okay? Kasi isang buong oras siya, isang buong araw siya. As compared to overtime, overtime is per hour, paid per hour. So, the premium pay, an exception, dun sa 30% exception, would be if the rest day of the employee also happens to be a special holiday. If that happens, then the employee is entitled to 50%. Okay, of a 50% premium pay. Again, the basis is daily rate. So mamaya mag-compute tayo. Moving on muna. Meal period. Okay, kasama siya sa rest. Under the Labor Code and the Omnibus Rules, the meal period should not be less than 1 hour time off. So do not forget this one, time off. When we say time off, the employee is not required to perform work. Hindi dapat nagtatrabaho si employee. Pag nagtrabaho si employee, compensable yan. Alright? Now, may exception. The exception to the non-compensable meal period is when the meal period is not less than 20 minutes. Okay? And it includes non-manual work. The establishment operates 16 hours a day, and there is actual work or impending emergencies in order to prevent serious loss or of perishable goods. Okay? So kung hindi available itong mga to, kung hindi present itong mga to, then the employee should be compensated for work rendered during a meal period. Coffee breaks, which is also included in rest period. Coffee break is within 5 to 20 minutes. Okay? And this is compensable. So, ibig sabihin, even if the employees are not working, then the employees will have to be compensated during the coffee break. Okay? Now, how do we compute? Bago tayo pumunta dun sa ibang labor standards benefits. Okay? How do you compute for overtime? So let's say an employee is being paid 800 pesos per day. So if an employee is required to perform work for 2 hours in excess of the 8 hours work, what would be the pay of the employee at the end of the day? So number 1, ang gagawin ninyo, you divide 800 by 8. 800, ito yung rate niya per day. 8 would be the number of normal work hours. Okay, in order to get the hourly rate. Again, why do we have to get the hourly rate? Again, because the overtime premium is based on the hourly rate of the employee. Now, 800 divided by 8, no-brainer, 100 pesos. So if the employee is required to perform work for 2 hours, multiply it by 2, sige, pwede rin naman. So 200 pesos, okay? Yun yung hourly rate niya for 2 hours. Pero ang sabi natin, meron siyang premium na 25%. Diba? So, you have to multiply the 200 with 25%. So, magiging 50 pesos. Tama? Okay, for 2 hours. Then, you add this to the 200. Kasi may 200 siya for 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. So, 200 plus 50, 250 plus 800. So, 1,050. So, the employee will be entitled to 1,050 at the end of the day. So, that is how you will compute the overtime. Pag rest day naman siya, since based to per day, so all you have to do is just multiply 800 by 30%. And then you're good. Okay? Next, holidays. Remember that we have 2 types of holidays. The regular holidays and the special special holidays. Yung special holidays, merong special working holiday and meron ding special non-working holiday. So how will you be able to determine if a holiday is special and not a regular holiday? Simple lang. If it is if the holiday is declared by virtue of a law, then it is a regular holiday. If it is declared by virtue of a presidential proclamation or a local proclamation of the LGU, then it is a special holiday. But take note, when it is declared as a special holiday, you have to check if the holiday is working or non-working holiday. Kasi kung working holiday siya, walang premium. Ang may premium lang yung non-working holiday. Okay, so I hope that's clear. So, when we talk of regular holidays, regular holiday, yun yung 100%. Example ng regular holiday would be November 1. Okay? December 25, December 30, January 1. Yun yung mga example ng regular holiday. If the employee is required to perform work on that day, the employee is entitled to a premium pay of 100%. Now, special holidays, yun yung from time to time dinideclare na holiday. If it is a special holiday, then the premium pay is 30%. Okay? Ms. Gapayo, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sige. Akala ko kasi naputol ako. Sorry. Kasi kanina yung earlier afternoon class ko, I've been interrupted for more than 4 hours. Ay, 4 times. So, medyo ano ko kapag nagbabago yung screen ko. Anyway, so, moving forward. When an employee is required to perform work on a holiday, the employee is entitled to premium pay of 100%. So if an employee, let's say, earns 800 pesos per day, and the employee is required to perform work on December 25, which is Christmas, a regular holiday, then the employee is entitled to 1,600 for working on that day. Now, the rule is that if the employee is required to perform work on a day which happens to be 2 holidays, okay, the premium pay would be 200%. Paano naging 200%? Okay. Remember, kung hindi holiday yon, meron na siyang, entitled na siya automatic 100%, di ba? Kasi paid siya talaga for working on that day. So, 100%. Kapag nagtrabaho siya on a regular holiday, yung 100% niya, madadagdagan ng another 100%. Now, dahil dalawa yung holiday, coinciding on the same day, so yung 100%, madadagdagan pa ulit ng isang 100%. So, ang idadagdag ninyo dun sa normal rate niya for that day would be 200%. So, it is wrong to say that the employee should be entitled 400%. No. Okay? You will compute it, only multiply it by 200% or a total actually of 300%. Okay, kung isasama ninyo yung regular pay niya. Now, if the holiday, as I have previously stated before, if the holiday is the employee's rest day, then there should be an additional 30% of the premium pay. So magiging 130% siya instead of just 100. Now, madali lang naman computin yung holiday pay kasi i-multiply nyo lang siya by 2. Okay, so wala tayong problema doon. Now, ang problem is, I know some of you are working, okay? And for those who are working, you are monthly paid. Tama? So, anong advantage ng monthly paid employee sa hourly or daily wage employee? Ang advantage ng monthly paid employee is that even if you do not perform work on a holiday, you will be paid. Kasi incorporated na doon, computed na doon sa monthly salary ninyo, all the holidays declared by law. Okay? And you will be paid for that accordingly. However, for daily rate employees and hourly wage employees, they have to work. Okay? If they do not report for work, then they will not be paid. So, thing is, if they do not work on a regular holiday, they will not get paid. Now, for monthly wage employees, ito yung requirement for you to get paid even if you did not work. Okay? Kung hindi nyo napapansin dun sa payroll na nababawasan kayo kapag hindi kayo pumapasok ng day before nung regular holiday, then well and good. Ibig sabihin, yung company hindi na nag-bother na i-deduct pa yung absence ninyo. Kasi hindi naman kayo dapat entitled dun sa holiday, dun sa day na nag-fall yung holiday. Okay? Pero kung binabawasan kayo, ito kasi yung rule. Now, the rule for monthly paid employees is that, number 1, you should not be on absent without leave on the day preceding the regular holiday. Okay? So, the exception, meaning in order to be paid on the regular holiday, then you have to work on the holiday itself. So, ang mangyayari, mababayaran na kayo, premium pay pa. Okay? Now, what will happen if, for example, the absence, the holiday falls on a Monday? So, ang sabi natin, dapat day before. So, yung day preceding, dapat hindi ka awol. So, ang reckoning niya would be Friday or Saturday, depending on what is the last day of work in that establishment. Okay? But what if 2 consecutive holidays, just like what happened during Holy Week? So, pag 2 consecutive, dapat yung day preceding the first holiday. Okay? Yun yung reckoning period. Now, ano ngayon yung gagawin mo para hindi ka papasok ng holiday, kung monthly paid employees ka, hindi ka papasok ng holiday, gusto mong mag-absent yung day before kasi gusto mong mag-avail ng long weekend. Okay? Kamukha sa Monday. Monday is a holiday. Okay? So yung iba, mga nag-long weekend na, hindi na pumasok ng Friday kasi Friday yung last day of work. So, paano sila ma-assure na they will get paid on a Monday if the employer will be strict and will apply the provisions of the labor code? Simple lang. Ang sabi dito, AWOL. Absence without leave. So, ang gagawin nila, magpapaalam kayo properly. Boss, lilive ako sa Friday ha, para long weekend ako. Pag pinayagan ka, then you will be paid on Monday, even if you absented yourself yesterday, Friday. Pero kung hindi ka pinayagan at tumuloy ka pa rin, awol ka. Okay? And you will not be paid Monday. But you will be paid on Monday if you would work on Monday. Okay? So that is the rule with respect to monthly paid employees. Now, for special holidays, it's 30%. Okay? Again, the exception is if the special holiday also happens to be the rest day of the employee. So the premium would be 50%. So it's not 30 plus 30, kasi 30 pag special holiday, 30 pag rest day. It is 50% based on the labor code. Ma'am, paano kung yung special holiday ay special working holiday? Wala. Pinaglololo ko lang tayo ng mga authorities kasi wala naman premium pay. Okay? So, do not be fooled by a special working holiday. Now, for night shift differential, this would pertain to work between 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. the following day. And the night shift differential is 10%. Question, does it have to be continuous from 10 until 6 the following day? Answer, no. It can be any time within that period. So if an employee works up until 11 p.m., the employee will be entitled to 10% night differential pay from 10 until 11 p.m. Okay, so hindi kailangan continuous. So, how do you compute for night shift differential? Same manner of computation, similar to overtime pay. Now, ang exception na nilagay ko dito, you will find this in RA 10151. Okay? RA 10151 allows night work. Question. With RA 10151, again, let me rephrase. Question. Are female employees the only type of employees benefited under RA 10151? Okay? And the answer to that is no. RA 10151 does not distinguish based on gender. What has been repealed actually by RA 10151 are the provisions prohibiting female employees from performing night work. Okay? But nonetheless, RA 10151 is not only for female employees. RA 10151 governs all employees who perform work during nighttime, but with the exception of employees working in agricultural business, stock raising, fishing, maritime, and inland navigation. Okay? Now, another benefit that that is included under Title 1, Book 3 would be service charge. Okay. Ngayon, kung kasi luma malamang yung labor code ninyo, hindi pa na-update dun sa recent na law on service charge, hindi na applicable yung sharing dun sa service charge because the rule now is that all covered employees will be entitled to 100% of the service charge. Okay? Now, this would only apply to service establishments. So, ano yung mga service establishments? So, example, restaurant, kasi they provide food service. Yung mga spa, ano pa, yung mga parlors, okay? Hotels. Those are examples of service establishments and they can actually collect service charge from their clients. Now, question. Is the service charge same as tips? No. Okay? Service charge is a statutory benefit. Tip is not. Tip is based on the benevolence of the consumer or the client. Service charge, since it is provided for by law, is legally demandable when the establishment would collect service charge. But tip is not legally demandable. The service charge, however, even if the establishment is engaged in the provision of service, will not apply if the establishment employs less than 10 persons. So are there establishments, service establishments who employ less than 10 persons? Yes. Okay, mga karinderya. Malit lang naman ang karinderya yan at meron siyang taga-serve. Normally, hindi naman mag-number to 10 workers yung karinderya. Okay? Yung mga tiyangge. Yung mga maliliit na mga establishments who provide for service, who do not have workers more than 10, then they will be excluded even if they collect service charge. Now, there is a rule with respect to abolition of service charge. When the employer would decide not to collect service charge, kasi si employer naman usually yung nagko-collect ng service charge from the from the clients rather. So if the employer would later on decide not to collect any more service charge, what should be done? It should be that the service charges, the average of the service charge collected by the employer should be included in the salary of the employee. Okay, the entitled employees. Kung hindi gagawin ni employer yon, then that will be a violation on the non-diminution of benefits provided under Article 100 of the Labor Code. Okay, so do not forget that. Next, service incentive leave. When an employee is required to perform work or is engaged by the employer, an employee, after a period of 1 year in service, whether continuous or broken, is entitled to service incentive leave equivalent to 5 days of paid leave per year. So, for example, an employee started to work January 1 of 2020. So by December 31, 2020, the employee had already completed 1 year of service. Sabi ng Labor Code, whether continuous or broken. So kung continuous siya, wala siyang absent, okay lang, walang problem. Yung broken na sinasabi, yung kapag merong periods of leaves or absences of the employee. Okay? So regardless of whether there are absences incurred or leaves incurred by the employee by the end of the first year of service will be entitled to 5 days of paid service incentive leave. And that will have to be availed of the following year. Now, the rule is that if the employee had not availed of the service incentive leave, the employee at the end of the service can have them converted to cash. So yun yung commutation. It can be commuted, it is commutable if the service incentive leave is not used. Okay? But the rule is that you will have to count starting on the second year. Bakit? First year kasi, you're still incurring the benefit. So yung from 2020, yung whole year ng 2020 based on my example, you will delete that or you will disregard that in computing for the service incentive leave. Kasi the 5 days will have to be earned, the 5 days is to be availed of by next year, 2021. So if, let's say, for example, the employee worked until the days 2020, worked until 2024, middle of 2024, so hanggang June. So ang bibilangin natin, naka 5 days siya, plus 5 days 2021, 2022, 2023. So 15 days in all. Okay? 15 service incentive leaves up until such time that the employee had severed the employment middle of 2024. I've emphasized before that under the Kasambahay Act, the Kasambahay is entitled to similar benefits as those of the as those provided under Title I, Book 3. So, service incentive leave is one of the leaves that may be availed of by the Kasambahay under the Kasambahay Act. However, yung service incentive leave na yon, hindi siya converted to cash. So, kailangan si kasambahay, kailangan ina-avail niya yung 5 days niya na paid leave. Okay? So, commutation is not possible under the Kasambahay Act. Service incentive leave will not be granted to employees who are already receiving similar benefits. So if, let's say, a company would provide for paid leaves per year, okay, 5 paid leaves per year for all its employees, then the employee cannot anymore avail or claim or demand for service incentive leave. Kasi yung 5 days na binibigay na yon ni employer, yun na supposedly yung corresponding service incentive leave under the labor code. Kung more than the 5 days paid leave, di mas okay. Thing is, if the company is already providing for service incentive leaves to all its employees or paid leaves that are at least 5 or more, then the employees cannot anymore demand for service incentive leave as provided under the labor code. The service incentive leave provision also of the labor code does not avail if the establishment is consists of less than 10 employees. Okay, so yung mga maliliit lang na business. Also, if the company policy or agreement provides for a lesser period of 1 year, then we will not observe the requirement under the labor code that the employee will have to complete a 1-year period in order to avail of that leave. Okay? Kasi ang common mistake kapag nagpa-file ng complaint for illegal dismissal is that the employee would still indicate their service incentive leave. When in fact, the company already provides 4 leaves, paid leaves every year that is either equal or more than the 5 days service incentive leave under the labor code. Now, these are the principles in determining hours worked. You will not find this in the labor code. You will find this in the omnibus rules. Now, why is this relevant? When there is a question that was asked you, is the time spent by the employee compensable or not? Then you have to apply these 4 principles. Now, if you will note, I indicated in the right portion of the matrix the concept. Ito, makikita nyo sa omnibus rules. Ito, hindi nyo makikita. Okay? Ginawa ko lang yan to aid your study. Now, the 4 principles in determining hours worked will apply with respect to the time spent by the employee working, the rest period that the employee had availed of, the overtime that the employee had been performed work beyond the normal hours of work, and work interruptions wherein the employee was prevented from performing work. Okay, so these are actually 4 circumstances that would ask you whether the employee is entitled to payment for the time spent in each of these circumstances. So let's go over them one by one. Time spent. Ito kahit hindi ko na-explain, alam nyo na to kasi this is very logical, of course. All the hours spent by the employee performing productive work by the employer should be compensable. Okay? So all the time spent by the employee working for the employer should be compensated. You will also find a corresponding provision under the labor code. Now, the second is with respect to the rest period. I highlighted there the important phrases that you have to take note. An employee need not leave the company premises in order to avail of the rest period. Okay? So, an employee, kung gusto niyang mag-avail ng meal period, hindi niya kailangan umalis sa cubicle niya. Hindi niya kailangan lumabas ng office para lang mag-avail ng meal period. It is enough that the employee had stopped working. Okay? Remember yung yung okay, this one I indicated a while ago. The meal period should be 1 hour time off, meaning the employee should not be working. So with respect to the provisions on time spent by the employee for meal periods or rest period, it is sufficient that the employee had stopped working. So if during the supposed rest period and the employee was suffered to work, meaning pinagtrabaho siya, then the employee, even if it is his rest period, should be compensated. Okay? Now, with respect to overtime, general rule, again, an employee who performs work beyond the normal hours of work is entitled to overtime. However, take note, the overtime should be within the knowledge of the employer or immediate supervisor, because it is always the employer who initiates overtime. Okay? Siya yung magsasabi na, oy, mag-overtime kayo. Hindi yung employer ang magsasabi na, boss, mag-overtime ako. Okay? So, it is and it should be within the knowledge and consent of the employer that the employee is rendering overtime. Without that knowledge, even if the employee had performed work beyond the normal hours of work, then the employee cannot legally demand for overtime pay. Okay? So kung hindi alam ni employer, nag-overtime pala si employee, lalo na ngayon may mga work from home arrangements tayo, then the employee cannot demand for work rendered beyond 8 hours if the employer was not notified and did not have knowledge of the overtime work. Now, finally, work interruptions. Okay. Magkakaroon ng break, 'di ba? Christmas break this year. Okay? Meron din mga semestral breaks. Okay? So, these are work interruptions. Okay? Work interruptions din yung may sudden announcement ng class suspension or work suspension because of typhoons and other disasters or circumstances. Most especially nitong pandemic, di ba? Nagkaroon ng work interruption kasi nag-implement ang government ng strict community quarantine. Now, question is, should the employee be entitled to pay during those work interruptions? The general rule, if the employee had no fault in the interruption of the work, then the employee should be entitled to pay. That is why in the case of, what case is that? I already forgot. In one case wherein the employees were availing of cost of living allowances during the period of the semestral break, kasi itong mga teachers, sabi ng Supreme Court, they should be entitled to cost of living allowances during the semestral break because this constitutes as work interruptions which are beyond their control. Okay? There's also one instance because as I've emphasized a while ago, there are hourly paid teachers, and hourly paid teachers are paid only when they perform work. But if there is an occasion of an emergency which necessitated the suspension of classes, the Supreme Court said that that is a work interruption beyond the control of the employee. So even if the employee is an hourly paid teacher and he did not perform work on that occasion, the employee should still be entitled to pay. So these are the 4 principles under the labor code, under the omnibus rules rather, which you should always take into consideration whenever you are being asked on whether the time spent by the employee should be compensated or not. Ito inano ko lang, nilagay ko lang dito yung with respect to waiver. Binigay ko na ba sa inyo to as an assignment? I think so during the preliminaries. Okay. Remember the requirements of waiver under the case of EDI staff builders versus NLRC. And they actually correspond to the requirements or essential elements of a valid waiver under the Civil Code. Okay? In-indicate ko lang just so you will not be confused. Now, I also gave you as additional assignment under 4.2, I think, assignment, the provisions of the labor code versus the POEA contract. Now, I also provided you with some cases dealing with the availment of disability claims of overseas workers, specifically seafarers. Under the POEA contract, employees who encountered illnesses or had been disabled or encountered disabilities or injuries during the period of their employment contract, they have to be repatriated here in the country, okay, for medication, for continued medication. Now, upon repatriation, meaning pagbalik nila dito, it is required that the employee will have to go to the agency and will have to consult the company physician within 3 days from repatriation. So, ito yung 3-day rule upon repatriation. So, pagbalik nila, kung bumalik sila ngayon, within 3 days, kailangan nilang pumunta dun sa agency and kailangan nilang matingnan ng company physician. If the 3-day rule had not been complied with, then the employee cannot claim anymore because the 3-day rule is mandatory. Okay? So, kapag to may illness or may injury or disability. Now, kapag may illness na si employee or may disability or injury, and natingnan na siya ng company physician, yung company physician would pertain to the agency. Okay? Yung company physician now has the duty to issue a certification of either the employee is fit to work or not fit to work. Kung hindi fit to work, then the company physician would have to indicate the disability grading of the employee. Yung disability grading na yun yung magsasabi na si employee kailangan bayaran. Kasi hindi na siya makakapag-work fully. Okay? Kung ire-require siya na gawin pa ulit yung mga duties niya doon sa trabaho niya. So, the company physician should issue a certification either fit to work or not fit to work with disability grading within a period of 120 days upon the first day of consultation of the employee. Okay. Now, kapag natapos yung 120 days na yon and hindi nakapag-issue ng certification si company physician, ano ang effect? Ang effect under jurisprudence is that by the lapse of the 120th day, the employee is presumed to be suffering from total permanent disability. So for seafarers, yung total permanent disability na yon is equal to a minimum of $60,000 US dollars. Sabi ko, minimum. Kasi kapag meron pa silang mga beneficiaries, may additional pa yon na I think $10,000 US dollars per beneficiary. So kasama doon yung asawa and kasama doon yung mga anak. Okay, so just imagine $60,000 US dollars permanent and total disability benefits for seafarers. That's why we have a lot of cases dealing with disability claims of seafarers because of the amount that they can actually be entitled to. Now, yun yung 120 days. So ano tong 240 days? Okay. There may be illnesses or there may be injuries that need continued medication even after 120 days. Okay. If that will be the case, then the company physician, before the end of the 120 days, should issue a certification to the effect that the period for treating the employee should be extended to another 120 days. Okay? So if it is apparent that the illness or injury or disability of the employee will have to be treated beyond 120 days, then there will be an extension of another 120. So that would make 240 days in total. Okay, so again, within that 240-day period, the company physician would have to issue the corresponding certification. Failure to do so would result in the declaration of the employee to be suffering from permanent and total disability. Now, what is this third doctor rule? If the company physician issues a certification to the effect that the employee is either fit to work or not fit to work but is subject to a certain disability grading, most of the time, the employee would contest the certification. Sasabihin niya, hindi na ako fit to work kasi hindi ko na kayang gawin yung dati kong responsibilities, duties and responsibilities. Or sasabihin niya, ang baba masyado ng disability grading. Dapat ang disability grading ko grade 1. Yung grade 1 kasi yun yung permanent and total. Okay? So, if there is non-acceptance by the employee now can go to his own personal doctor. So the personal doctor, kapag tinignan na siya, mag-i-issue siya ng certification. Now, if there is a conflict between the certification of the personal doctor and the company physician, okay, the employee now should initiate request for referral to a third doctor. And the certification of the third doctor will have to be respected by both parties. So that is the third doctor rule. So previously sa labor arbiter, nagkakaroon lang hanggang consultation with personal doctor ni employee. So ang gagawin ng labor arbiter, since walang third doctor, i-terminate yung proceedings, sasabihin premature because of non-referral to a third doctor. Minsan, nakakarating din yung iba sa Supreme Court, i-deny lang ng Supreme Court, sasabihin premature because non-compliance with the rule on third doctor. So, in order to cure that, the NLRC issued a memorandum directing now the labor arbiter that if in case the parties had not yet referred the matter to a third doctor, then the labor arbiter now will have to issue the corresponding order and refer the matter to a third doctor in order to prevent termination of or dismissal of the complaint for disability claims for non-compliance with the third doctor rule. Now, anong ibig sabihin nitong phrase na to? Disability is with respect to the ability of the employee to perform the same work and not whether the employee may still be fit to work. When we talk of disability under the labor code and with respect in relation to the POEA contract, we are not actually, and provisions of the labor code on occupational health and safety, we're not actually referring to disability as defined under the Magna Carta for disabled workers or disabled persons. So, hindi sila yung kapag sinabi natin na disabled, yun yung mga kulang ng mga limb. Okay? Pwedeng disabled yung permanently disabled, total and permanently disabled si employee, pero hindi siya physically disabled. But he cannot fully perform the work that he has been previously discharging for his employer. Okay? That is the disability that we are referring to here. So let's say, for instance, an employee encountered an accident during the lifetime of his project employment. Now, because of that disability, he suffered a slip disc. Okay? Unfortunately, this employee is a flight steward. Okay? Or a ship steward, a ship attendant. And one of the responsibilities of the ship attendant is to carry the heavy baggages of the passengers. But because of the slip disc, that employee cannot anymore perform the same work. If that will be the case, he cannot be certified with a fit to work because that employee cannot anymore perform work of a ship attendant. But come to think of it, even with that disability, the employee can still be hired by other individuals or even by the same agency or by the same principal, but in a different capacity. Okay? But the thing is, because the employee cannot perform work of a ship agent, that employee is already considered under the provisions of the labor code and the POEA contract as totally and permanently disabled and therefore entitled to full benefits as provided under existing laws. Okay? So, kahit na i-re-employ siya ni principal, pero hindi siya ni-re-employ as ship agent, permanent and total pa rin yung disability ni employee kahit na nagtatrabaho pa rin siya. Yun nga lang, hindi na ship agent. So that is the meaning of the phrase disability is with respect to the ability of the employee to perform the same work as before. So let me just stop my screen sharing. Okay. Now, last time, I asked you again yung guide questions. So, can I see your faces? Dun sa mga okay yung internet connection, can you turn on your videos? Hindi naman ako hindi naman ako magre-recitation. Mahirap mag-recitation online, kaya gusto ko written lang. Okay. Sino sa inyo yung nakapag-download nung guide questions? Sino yung may kopya nung guide questions? Okay. I think I told Mr. Itaw na you can download it. Actually, pwede nyo pang ma-download yon kung wala kayong, kung may time kayo, you can still download. And as I have said, you can still insert answers in between and that will be your reviewer. Kasi yung guide questions na yon actually are the same questions that I asked during recitations. Okay? So, tingnan natin yung mga questions doon. Identify and discuss the employees who cannot benefit from the provisions. I've already discussed that. May supervisors claim the benefits under Title I, Book 3 of the Labor Code? No, because they are included under the definition of managers under Title I, Book 3. Wait, i-share ko na lang yung screen ko para makita ninyo yung sinasabi ko. Okay, so can you see it now? Mr. Itaw, can you see it? All right. So next question, are all piece rate workers excluded from Title I, Book 3? Of course, hindi, because you have to identify, you have to distinguish between supervised and non-supervised piece rate workers. Who are managerial employees? Ito kailangan yung sagutan based on the provisions of the Omnibus Rules. There are guidelines in order to determine whether an employee is a rank and file employee, a managerial employee, or a supervisor. But when we talk of Title I, Book 3, again, managerial employees would include members of the managerial staff. Okay? Who are the workers falling under the category of kasambahay? We've already discussed that. You just have to refer to the provisions of the kasambahay law. Are persons in the personal service of another included in the term kasambahay? Again, no. Okay, they are different. Identify, should the employee be entitled to compensation for time spent in attending a training program? Okay, that will depend on the conditions. The Omnibus Rules provides for certain conditions before an employee may be compensated for attendance during a training program. Okay, what are those conditions? The training, the employee is not required to perform productive work for the employer during the period of that training program. Perform work. The training program is actually required by the employer, and the hours or the time within which the employee is required to attend the training program is considered or is within office hours. So all of those, if all of those are present, then the employee should be entitled to compensation for attendance on a training, workshop, including the time spent for travel. Identify the minimum rate. Dali naman yan. Okay, na-identify na ba na natin kanina? Explain the difference between regular holiday, special, non-working holiday. I've already explained that. Ito, April 9 is Good Friday. If an employee is paid 800 pesos per day and suffered to work on April 9, how much will the employee receive for that day? Remember that April 9 is also what? Bataan Day, Araw ng Kagitingan, so double holiday. Okay, so yung mga trivia, dapat alam nyo rin. Okay, kasi doon kayo mahuhuli. Alright? When may employees be required to render overtime and work on rest days? This is pure memorization. The labor code provides for the circumstances wherein the employer may compel the employees to perform overtime work or to work during rest periods or rest days. Also, it is pure memory work that the employer and the employee can agree on the day when the employee may avail of the rest day if the reason for availing would be based on religious grounds. Explain undertime not offset by overtime. Alam niyo naman yung yung undertime, 'di ba? Kamukha ngayon. Tatapos na tayo. Ang klase natin hanggang 6 p.m. So kung matatapos tayo ng let's say 4:45, may undertime tayo ng 1 hour and 15 minutes. So same kapag nagtatrabaho, 8 to 5, umuwi ka ng 3 o'clock, nag-undertime ka ng 2 hours. Okay, so that is undertime. Now, the labor code provides that undertime cannot be offset by overtime. So, yung 3 hours na undertime mo ni employee on a certain day cannot be offset by working an additional 2 hours the following day. Okay? Because the labor code, the law, actually accords more weight on employees being paid overtime for work in excess of the normal hours of work, which is 8 hours. Okay? So, kung nag-perform si employee ng work the following day, ang sabi niya, sir, 2 hours kasi ako na nag-undertime kahapon. Mag-work na lang ako ngayon, ko-compensate ko na lang yung undertime ko kahapon. Pinayagan siya. Okay? Nag-check si DOLE officer. Pagkita niya, bakit ang time out ni employee dito ay more than 2 hours dun sa 5-hour period niya. Pero hindi siya binayaran ng overtime pay. Hindi pwedeng idahilan ni employer na winave naman ni employee yan kasi nag-offset siya ng undertime. That cannot be done. Again, undertime cannot be offset by overtime. So that is not a sufficient reason. Compressed work scheme, I've already discussed this. When will employers be mandated to pay for overtime work in case of work due to power interruption? Na-discuss ko na rin. How is a compressed work week schedule implemented? Again, this is based on the agreement of both the employer and the employee, and there is a compliance report that has to be submitted first to the DOLE before a compressed work week schedule may be implemented. Is there a difference between monthly paid and hourly paid employees in terms of holiday pay? I've already discussed this kanina, yung may awol. Okay? So, tandaan nyo yun. Who are night workers? Madali na yan. I've already discussed that. Hindi nyo matandaan, refer to RA 10151. This one. May an employee be terminated if he or she will not be able to render night work due to medical reasons? And will your answer be the same if the employer has no other available option to transfer the employee to another shift schedule? You will find the answer here in RA 10151. Okay? May an employee be terminated if he or she will not be able to render night work due to medical reasons? And the answer to that is no. Okay? Because the provisions of RA 10151 says that the employer should find work for the employee who cannot render night work due to medical reasons. So what does that mean? The employer should find another shift for the employee that will not require the employee to perform night work. Okay? Usually naman kapag may night work and may night operation si employer, ibig sabihin 24/7 ang operation niya. So dapat si employer i-assign lang si employee who cannot perform night work due to medical reasons ng day shift. Now, will your answer be the same if the employer has no other available option to transfer the employee to another shift schedule? This time, your answer will not be the same. Okay? Under RA 10151, the law says that the employee who cannot be transferred to another shift scheduled by the employer and the employer is left with no other option is entitled to the same benefits accorded under existing laws. So ano yung benefits na yun? Benefits for illness. Okay? Hindi natin covered ang termination. Hindi natin covered ang termination. That is under labor relations. Okay? Illness is actually a ground to terminate an employee. Okay? May conditions yan. Illness should be, there should be a certification by a competent public health authority that the illness cannot be cured despite continued medication for a period not lesser than 6 months. Okay? There is also a requirement that maintaining the employee would be prejudicial to the health either of the employee or his co-employees. So because of that, okay, the employer can actually terminate the employee based on illness. And if that will be done, the employee will be entitled to separation pay. Now, under RA 10151, again, I will repeat, the provisions of RA 10151 indicates that if the employer has no other available option to transfer the employee to another shift schedule and the employee cannot perform night work due to medical reasons, then the employee will be entitled to benefits under existing laws. Right? So, ibig sabihin yung benefit that is accorded to employees who are being terminated based on disease or illness. Okay? Next, who are field personnel? I've already discussed that. Are farm workers and seafarers considered as field personnel? No, they are not considered as field personnel. In at least 2 cases that I have assigned to you with respect to seafarers are not considered as field workers because they are always on board a vessel. They cannot even claim for overtime and night shift differential because of the nature of their work. If they will perform work beyond the normal hours of work, then they have to prove that they did so. Okay, there has to be proof. Hindi pwedeng sabihin na, kasi nandun lang naman ako sa barko, hindi naman ako makaalis. Okay? So, kung gusto niyo mag-avail ng overtime, mag-present siya ng proof na nag-work siya beyond the normal hours of work. Is a seafarer entitled to overtime and night shift? Explain the no offsetting rule. I've already discussed that. Lay down the rules when the employer may be allowed to compensate for production loss during a power interruption. I've already discussed that. Are employees working from home entitled to rest periods, overtime, and night shift differential? Okay. You will find this, of course, on the Telecommunications Act. Okay. Part naman yun ng assignment nyo, di ba? I think not only in this class but in my other classes as well, parang hindi binibigyan ng attention ng mga students yung special laws. Okay? Minsan, most especially in the bar examination, dun kayo mahuhuli sa special laws. So, alam kong maraming special laws ngayon sa labor. Wala tayong magagawa. Related lahat yun sa labor, so you have to study them. Are also the parents entitled to flexible working hours? No. Okay? Not all solar parents are entitled to flexible working hours. If the business of the company cannot accommodate flexible working hours, then there's no reason for solo parents to demand flexible working hours. How should service incentive leaves be computed? I've already answered that. May service charge be discontinued by the employer? Will it be the same for tips? And I've also discussed those